Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God, everybody. What's up, folks? Welcome back to the channel. So let's talk about summertime fishing. Don't know if you've noticed, but it is really stinking hot outside. And with that, fish's behavior are going to completely change than what they have been when they've been chewing on everything you've been throwing at them this spring, or maybe not. But you know what I mean. They're a lot easier to catch when the water's cool. We all know that. When it's real cold, not so much, but when it's cool, like the springtime, easy fishing. Now that it's gotten summertime, really you're going to need to focus on very specific areas. These fish are going to bunch up. They're not going to be scattered out all over the lake. They're going to be in big packs, and they're going to focus on 3 really specific areas is where you're going to find these fish. And I'm going to cover all of those areas in this video, so stay tuned. That's right, shade. Shade is going to be somewhere you're going to want to focus on. Not only is it a place for a fish to get and stay cool whenever it's really hot, because the water temperature there is going to be, even if it's a half a degree, it's a big difference in a fish's world in water temperature. But the shade is also going to create an ambush zone. That shade line is an area where those fish are blind coming in and out of the bait fish. And big fish know this, really any fish knows this, and they're going to set up on these shade lines, not only because they can stay there cool and comfortable, but it'd be the equivalent to being able to sit on your couch in a nice dark room watching Netflix and people are bringing food by. All you got to do is reach out and grab it. And that's literally the equivalent of what these fish are living. They're living in these nice, cushy, shaded areas, and then they're going out and grabbing fish, or grabbing their bait. Exactly like you saw right there throwing underneath that tree. That fish was hanging out in the shade zone. As soon as I got close to the edge of that shade zone, pow, hit the jackhammer. So fish shade. Oh man, what do I have there? It's got me around a tree, whatever it is. Oh my goodness. This is a very, very, very big fish. Is it in another tree? Please still be there. Oh my goodness, another one? That's right, ledges and edges. I'm going to bunch these into the same category. They're completely different. What are we talking about? A ledge is an area of a lake where you're going along in contour and then it drops off onto a ledge. That's literally what a ledge is. Now, some of these ledges are going to be more of a diagonal slope, some of them are going to be more up and down, a lot more drastic. But a ledge is a ledge is a ledge. It really just depends on the lake. So, for instance, Possum Kingdom, a lake that has very sheer drop offs, a ledge there is different than a lake like Lake Fork, where the contour is a lot more flat and you don't have as many hard drop offs. So, focus on ledges because that's going to be an area where fish, again, like shade, are going to use it for an ambush zone. Those ambush zones are also going to create shade, just like a cover will create shade. That ledge is creating shade, plus, typically talking about deeper waters, there's just less light penetration overall. So these fishes are going to bunch up on these ledges. When you find out that it's a ledge bite, then it makes it easy. You just start focusing on those areas of the lake, which you're probably looking at 10% of your lake at best at that point. And then you just need to focus on depths, because you're going to start finding out they're going to be in certain depths off of these ledges, and that may vary from one side of the lake to the other, depending on wind or water clarity or whatever. But you can find these key depths and find out they're focusing on ledges, cuts out a lot of the lake for you. And keep in mind, doesn't mean there's not fish in the other areas of the lake. You're just fishing in high percentage areas, so you're going to catch more fish simply by that default. Now, just like a ledge, a grass edge is an area where it's going to create shade in an ambush zone, but a little bit differently, because we're talking about grass vegetation here that's creating this edge. Now, there can be a grass edge off of a ledge, so an edge on a ledge, no pun intended, and that can be a double sweet zone, especially if you find those. But that's really just another ambush zone. It's just another form of it, right? These fish are going to hang out either just outside the grass or just inside the grass, and they're going to crunch on that bait as it's coming back and forth. Again, it conceals them as an ambush zone. So if you can focus on grass edges on a grass lake and ledges on a non-grass lake, or even edges and ledges, these are going to be high percentage areas for you. And in the summertime, these are the areas you need to focus on to get more bites. Structure. Structure is going to be an area that you're going to want to fish year round, but especially in the summertime. Kind of because what we've already covered in the very first piece, because of the shade that's going to create, and also an ambush zone, but just a house for the fish. These fish feel comfortable in structure. You got to remember, even a big 10-pound bass knows that there's a potential for him to get eaten. He's grown up his whole life and he's been on the food chain. In his mind, there's no different whether he's 10 pounds or he's a little 10-ounce fry. It really doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, these fish are going to use these structure points just like they use the edges and the ledges and the shade, because, again, it's creating an ambush zone. A lot of times the structure is creating shade for them, so they're getting a little bit of combination. And hey, if you find some structure on the edge of a grass ledge, boy, you might have found something real, real special there. And I'm partly joking, I'm partly not joking, because you literally may find something like that. You may find a brush pile off the edge of a ledge on a grass edge. And if you find something like that, I promise you there's going to be fish there at some point in the year. Probably always going to be bait fish there. All right, I had to cut myself off. I was getting a little bit silly there. Guys, no jokes about it. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I hope it was informational for you. What I want you to take away from this is, if you'll focus on those three areas, you'll focus on shade, you'll focus on edges and ledges, and you'll focus on structure. These are going to be areas where are going to be really high percentage areas for you in any lake that you fish across the country, as these waters have now been in the 80+ range for a lot of us down here in the south, and it's coming soon for y'all here in the north, so y'all need to watch this video and take heed. But really start paying attention to those areas, and it's going to cut down a ton of time for you when you're on the water. Because at the end of the day, if you're out there fishing and you're just fishing in open water, I don't care how good of a fisherman you are, you're not going to catch any fish. Shocker, right? But no jokes about it. If y'all can focus on those three areas, it's going to put you in an area where there's fish, and now it's just finding out what technique and lure and all that good stuff takes out less pieces of the equation for you. So, guys, appreciate the video. Appreciate y'all watching the video. Appreciate your time as always. If you would put a thumbs up here, leave a comment, especially if you have a question, put them in the comments. I'm happy to answer them for you. And if you haven't hit that subscribe button, please consider doing so you can see more content like this and more of my fishing content. Stay tuned, guys. Stay fishing.